Although Georgie and Mandy's first marriage gave cameo roles to almost all of young Sheldon's main characters, Season 2 can now bring back one fan favorite thanks to a clever trick from the spin-off series. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's title alone highlights the show's central conundrum. When young Sheldon ended, Georgie and Mandy were newly married and looking forward to a bright future raising their daughter Cece together. In The Big Bang Theory Season 11, Episode 23, an older version of Georgie bitterly referenced his ex-wife in passing. Thus, the job of young Sheldon's spin-off is to clearly explain what happened to the pair's seemingly stable relationship between the two shows. However, since Georgie and Mandy's first marriage is a spin-off of young Sheldon, the show also needs to keep in touch with that earlier hit's main characters. That was a big ask when Georgie and Mandy's first marriage also needed to establish some new main characters of its own simultaneously, and Georgie and Mandy's first marriage Season 2 now has to balance the two families that make up the main cast members of both shows. In Georgie and Mandy's first marriage Season 1, the spin-off mostly focused on Georgie's relationship with Mandy and her family, the McAllisters. Mandy's brother Connor soon became the spin-off's breakout star, while her parents, Audrey and Jim, provided much of the show's necessary conflict. Audrey didn't like Georgie and wasn't afraid to say so, forcing him to go out of his way to impress his mother-in-law. In contrast, Jim tried to support him but hated Georgie's more aggressive marketing ideas for his tire store. While the McAllisters were the show's main characters, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage still made room for cameos from Mary, Meemaw, and Missy. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage Season 2 will give Mary a major role now that she co-owns Georgie's new tire store, but it was another character's comeback that proved to be the spin-off's most impressive achievement. Lance Barber's George Sr. died in the antepenultimate episode of Young Sheldon, meaning it was seemingly impossible for him to return for the spin-off. The spin-off has already established a way for the character to come back in the future, since Georgie is almost certain to work himself into serious stress again. Despite this, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage found a workaround in Episode 12, Typhoid Georgie. When Georgie became severely ill due to overworking himself, he had fever dreams where he was reunited with his father. Barber reprised his young Sheldon role for these scenes, meaning another return from George Sr. would now make perfect sense after Georgie and Mandy's first marriage Season 1. The spin-off has already established a way for the character to come back in the future, since Georgie is almost certain to work himself into serious stress again.